Sharks are some of the most incredible animals on our planet, and their story goes back an astonishingly long time. Before the dinosaurs, before the first trees grew tall, sharks were already swimming in the world's oceans. For over 450 million years, they have been the ultimate survivors, adapting and evolving to become the top predators of the marine world. This incredible history is written not just in books, but in stone. Fossils give us a rare and breathtaking window into the past, showing us moments of life and death that have been frozen in time for millions of years. These ancient records tell a dramatic story of power, survival, and the brutal reality of nature. When we think of fossils, we often picture the giant skeletons of dinosaurs like Tyrannosaurus rex. But the fossil record of sharks is just as exciting, if not more so. It reveals a world filled with colossal hunters and epic battles. These aren't just bones, they are clues that paleontologists, the detectives of the ancient world, used to piece together the life stories of these magnificent creatures. Bite marks on a bone, a tooth embedded in a vertebra, or even the fossilized contents of a shark's stomach can tell us exactly what these predators were eating and how they hunted. It's a fascinating journey that takes us deep into the prehistoric oceans. Imagine an ocean teeming with life forms so strange they seem like they're from another planet. In these waters, sharks were not just one type of predator. They came in all shapes and sizes. There was the bizarre-looking helicoprion, with its spiral of teeth, and the sleek, fast-moving Cladocelach, one of the earliest known sharks. Then came the true giants like the Ginsu shark, Cretoxorhina, and the most famous of all, the mighty Otodus megalodon. Each of these sharks left its mark on the fossil record, often in the most dramatic way possible, by attacking and eating other animals. These fossilized encounters are evidence of their dominance. In this essay, we're going on an adventure back in time. We're going to explore the most amazing fossil evidence of shark attacks ever discovered. We will journey from the deepest parts of the Paleozoic era to more recent prehistoric times, uncovering brutal battles between sharks and other massive sea creatures, flying reptiles and even early humans. We will look at evidence so clear and so violent that it paints a vivid picture of a shark's raw power. So get ready to dive into the ancient seas and witness the moments when these incredible predators made history, one bite at a time. It's a wild ride. Our journey begins an incredible 360 million years ago, during a time called the Devonian period. This was long before the dinosaurs, when the oceans were filled with armored fish and strange sea scorpions. It is here that we find the oldest known evidence of a shark attack, and it reveals something truly surprising. The predator was a shark named Cladocelach. This was not a huge shark like a great white. It was a sleek and fast hunter, about 6 feet long, with a torpedo-shaped body built for speed. Its fossil was discovered in Cleveland, Ohio, preserved in shale rock that was once the soft mud of an ancient seafloor. What makes this Cladocelach fossil so special is that it wasn't alone. Inside its stomach, perfectly preserved, was the fossil of another, smaller shark. This tells us a few amazing things. First, it confirms that sharks were already dominant predators hundreds of millions of years ago. But more importantly, the smaller shark was swallowed tail first. This is a huge clue for scientists. It suggests that Cladocelach was an incredibly fast ambush predator that chased down its prey from behind and swallowed it whole. It didn't just scavenge for dead animals, it was an active and skilled hunter in its prime. This incredible fossil might also be the first evidence of something we see in nature today: cannibalism. The fact that a shark was eating another shark shows that from their earliest days, these predators were opportunistic and would eat whatever they could catch, including their own kind. In the brutal world of the Devonian seas, you were either the hunter or the hunted, and sometimes you were both. This discovery is a powerful reminder that the rules of the wild have been in place for a very, very long time. It's a shark-eat-shark world out there, and apparently, it always has been. So, the very first chapter in the long story of shark attacks is not about a shark eating a fish or another sea creature, but about a shark eating one of its own. It's a dramatic and fascinating start to their legacy. This single fossil, frozen in time for 360 million years, gives us a glimpse into the raw, unfiltered behavior of one of Earth's earliest superpredators. It sets the stage for the millions of years of dominance that would follow, proving that sharks have been the undisputed rulers of the ocean since the very beginning of their existence. What an amazing piece of natural history! Let's fast forward through time to the Cretaceous period about 80 million years ago. This was the age of dinosaurs, and the skies were ruled by giant flying reptiles called pterosaurs. One of the most famous was the pteranodon, a magnificent creature with a wingspan of over 16 feet. It soared over a vast body of water called the Western Interior Seaway, which once split North America in two. It likely flew low over the water, diving down to snatch fish from the surface. But this hunting strategy came with a very big risk because something huge was lurking below. In Kansas, paleontologists found the fossil of a pteranodon with a shocking injury. Embedded in one of its neck vertebrae was a single, sharp, serrated tooth. Scientists were able to identify the tooth as belonging to a formidable predator called Cretoxyrhina, also known as the Ginsu shark because its teeth were as sharp as steak knives. This shark was a true monster of the Cretaceous seas, growing up to 26 feet long, even bigger than a modern great white shark. The fossil tells a dramatic story of a sudden and violent encounter between a creature of the air and a monster of the deep. The evidence suggests a brutal attack. The pteranodon was likely flying low or had just dived into the water to catch a fish when the Ginsu shark struck from below. The force of the bite was immense, driving the tooth deep into the pterosaur's neck bone. This attack would have been instantly fatal. Imagine the scene. A giant flying reptile, master of the sky, brought down in a split second by a powerful hunter from the dark waters. It's a powerful illustration of the dangers that existed in the prehistoric world where no animal was ever truly safe from predation. What's interesting is that the shark didn't eat the pteranodon. The rest of the flying reptile's skeleton was found intact, meaning the shark likely abandoned its kill after the initial attack. Why would it do that? One theory is that another, even larger predator might have appeared, scaring the Ginsu shark away. The Western Interior Seaway was filled with giant marine reptiles called mosasaurs, which were even bigger than Cretoxyrhina. Perhaps the shark made its kill, only to be chased off by an even more terrifying sea monster. This fossil is a snapshot of a single violent moment that ended one life and tells a complex story of the food chain. No discussion of prehistoric shark attacks would be complete without talking about the biggest and baddest shark of all time, Otodus megalodon. This colossal predator, which could reach lengths of up to 80 feet, ruled the oceans from about 23 to 3.6 million years ago. It was so massive that its daily diet required around 100,000 calories. To get that much food, Megalodon had to hunt the largest animals in the sea whales. Fossil evidence gives us a front-row seat to these epic battles between giants, showing us just how Megalodon hunted its enormous prey with devastating power and precision. One incredible fossil, found in Maryland, is the vertebra of a 15-million-year-old whale. This bone shows catastrophic damage. There are deep serrated cut marks from a massive shark bite, along with a severe compression fracture that indicates a tremendous amount of force was applied. Nearby, scientists found a megalodon tooth, the smoking gun that identified the attacker. This was likely an ambush attack from the side, with the megalodon ramming the whale and taking a massive bite out of its back. The sheer power of the bite shattered the whale's spine, crippling it. Amazingly, the whale did not die instantly. The fossil shows signs of bone regrowth around the wound, which means the whale survived the initial attack and lived for several weeks afterward. However, it would have been a slow and painful end. With a shattered spine, the whale would have been unable to swim or hunt properly. It likely succumbed to its injuries or a severe infection days or weeks later. This fossil gives us a glimpse into the brutal hunting strategy of Megalodon. It didn't always go for a quick kill, but would sometimes inflict a disabling wound and wait for its prey to weaken. Another piece of evidence comes from a sperm whale tooth found in North Carolina. This tooth has deep bite marks on it from a giant serrated shark tooth, most likely a megalodon or a close relative. What's fascinating is that for the shark's tooth to reach the whale's tooth, it would have had to crush right through the whale's jaw and gums. This wasn't a scavenging bite on a dead carcass. This was a live attack aimed directly at the whale's face. Attacking the head or jaws was a smart strategy to quickly disable a powerful animal like a sperm whale. These fossils are undeniable proof of Megalodon's place as the ultimate apex predator of its time. Sharks have been interacting with our own species for thousands of years, and unfortunately, not all of those encounters have been peaceful. The fossil record has preserved the tragic stories of some of the earliest known human shark attack victims. The oldest confirmed case comes from Japan, dating back around 3,400 years ago. Archaeologists discovered the skeleton of a man from the Jomon culture, an ancient society of hunter-gatherers. This skeleton, known as Tsukumo No. 24, tells a horrifying story of a violent and fatal encounter with a large shark in the Seto Inland Sea. When scientists examined the man's remains, they were honestly shocked by the extent of his injuries. They found over 790 deep serrated bite marks covering his bones, from his arms and legs to his chest and abdomen. The attack was overwhelmingly brutal. His left hand and both of his feet had been bitten off completely, and his chest and abdomen were torn apart. Based on the type and pattern of the wounds, researchers believe the attacker was most likely a great white shark or a tiger shark. This poor man was probably fishing or diving for shellfish when the shark struck, leaving him with no chance of survival. This discovery is significant because it is the first scientifically verified human shark attack victim in history. The sheer number of wounds shows that this was not a case of mistaken identity, where a shark takes one bite and swims away. This was a sustained predatory attack. His community must have recovered his body from the water and given him a proper burial, which is how his skeleton was preserved for us to find thousands of years later. It's a sobering reminder of the dangers our ancestors faced every day as they tried to make a living from the sea. While the Japanese fossil is the oldest confirmed case, there might be an even older one from Peru. In a 6,000-year-old grave, archaeologists found the skeleton of a 17-year-old boy with injuries consistent with a shark attack. His left leg was completely gone, his right hip was partially removed, and his forearms had deep bite marks that looked like defensive wounds, as if he tried to fight off his attacker. Though this case was never officially published in a scientific journal, it paints a similar picture of a deadly encounter. These ancient skeletons are not just fossils, they are the remains of people, and they tell a powerful personal story of tragedy at sea. While sharks are master predators, they aren't perfect. Sometimes even the hunter can get into trouble, and the fossil record has captured some of these strange and unfortunate moments. One of the most incredible examples comes from Germany, where a 183-million-year-old fossil of a hibiscus shark was found. Hibiscus was a common shark during the Jurassic period, but this particular fossil was special. It was so perfectly preserved that scientists could see the contents of its stomach. And what they found was truly astonishing. The shark had literally eaten itself to death. Inside the shark's stomach was a massive, undigested ball of over 100 belemnites. Belemnites were ancient cephalopods, similar to modern-day squid, but they had a hard, bullet-shaped internal shell. This hibiscus shark, in a moment of extreme gluttony, had swallowed a huge school of them one after another. The problem was that the hard, indigestible parts of the belemnites formed a huge mass in its stomach. It's believed that the shark either choked on its meal or its stomach actually ruptured from being so full. It's a classic case of an animal's eyes being bigger than its stomach. This fossil is a rare look at the feeding behavior of a prehistoric shark, but it also serves as a strange and humorous cautionary tale from the Jurassic period. It shows that even for a powerful predator, being too greedy can have fatal consequences. The image of a tough Jurassic shark being taken down not by a bigger predator, but by its own enormous appetite for squid-like creatures, is both fascinating and a little bit funny. It reminds us that nature is full of surprises, and not every hunt ends in a glorious victory for the predator. Another bizarre fossil from the same time period tells a story of a three-way interaction. A fossil from southern Germany shows a belemnite, this one called Paleoteuthis, in the process of capturing a small lobster for its dinner. But before it could enjoy its meal, it was ambushed by a predator with sharp, cusped teeth. Almost certainly, a hibiscus shark. The side of the belemnite is severely mangled from the shark's bite. However, the shark didn't eat the belemnite. It seems the shark, perhaps already full from another meal, attacked out of pure reflex and then abandoned its kill. This single fossil slab captures a moment of predation within predation, frozen forever in stone. Fossils are not the only way we know about ancient shark attacks. Our ancestors also recorded their encounters with these powerful sea creatures in their art and writing. These records give us a human perspective on sharks, showing that our fascination and fear of them go back thousands of years. One of the oldest artistic depictions of a shark attack is found on a 2,700-year-old Greek vase, discovered on the island of Ischia, Italy. This piece of pottery shows a dramatic scene of shipwrecked sailors being attacked in the water by large fish that look remarkably like great white sharks. The vase paints a terrifying picture. A man is shown being bitten in half by one of the giant fish, his legs dangling from its mouth. It's a graphic and powerful image that captures the horror of such an event. For the ancient Greeks, who were a seafaring people, the dangers of the ocean were very real. This vase served as a chilling reminder of what could happen if a ship went down. It shows that sharks were already recognized as a serious threat to humans in the Mediterranean Sea nearly 3,000 years ago, long before they became the subject of movies and documentaries. Ancient writers also documented shark attacks. The famous Greek historian Herodotus, often called the father of history, wrote about an event that occurred during the first Persian invasion of Greece in 492 BC. He described how a massive Persian fleet of 300 ships was destroyed in a storm off the coast of Mount Athos. According to Herodotus, around 20,000 sailors were thrown into the sea. As they struggled in the water, they were attacked and eaten by what he called sea monsters. Historians now believe that these so-called monsters were almost certainly large, aggressive sharks, drawn to the disaster. Another Roman writer, Pliny the Elder, wrote about sharks in his famous work Natural History around 77 AD. He described the dangerous job of sponge divers in the Mediterranean, who had to face fierce encounters with sharks, which he called dogfish. Pliny wrote that these sharks would attack the diver's groin, heels, and all the pale parts of the body. His detailed description shows a clear understanding of shark behavior and the very real danger they posed to anyone who entered their world. These ancient texts and artifacts are invaluable, as they bridge the gap between the fossil record and our own human history with sharks. As we move from ancient texts into more recent history, the records of human-shark interactions become even more vivid, though not always scientifically accurate. For centuries, sharks were seen as monstrous, mindless eating machines, a reputation fueled by sailors' tales and a lack of scientific understanding. They were often lumped in with mythical sea serpents and krakens, creatures of sailors' nightmares. Before the rise of marine biology, fear and folklore shaped the public's perception of these animals, painting them as villains of the deep who patrolled the oceans with malicious intent. This view was far from the truth of their complex behavior. The age of exploration, beginning in the 15th century, brought sailors from Europe to oceans all over the world, where they encountered shark species they had never seen before. The stories they brought back were often exaggerated, full of terrifying accounts of man-eaters that could swallow a person whole. These tales, while not always factual, reflected the very real anxiety sailors felt about falling overboard into unknown waters. The word shark itself is thought to have entered the English language around the 1560s, brought back by sailors who had encountered these formidable fish, and it quickly became associated with danger and veracity. Artists during this period also contributed to the shark's fearsome reputation. In 1778, the painter John Singleton Copley created a famous painting titled Watson and the Shark. The painting depicts the true story of Brooke Watson, who lost his leg in a shark attack in Havana, Cuba, as a teenager. The dramatic scene, showing Watson struggling in the water as the shark moves in for another attack while his crewmates try to rescue him, became an iconic image. It captured the public's imagination and solidified the shark's image as a terrifying monster, a portrayal that would persist for centuries to come. It wasn't until the 20th century, with the development of diving technology and marine science, that our understanding of sharks began to change. Researchers like Jacques Cousteau brought the underwater world into people's living rooms, showing sharks not as monsters, but as graceful and essential parts of the marine ecosystem. Scientists began to study their behavior, migration patterns and life cycles, revealing their incredible complexity. This shift in perspective began to challenge the centuries of fear and misunderstanding, paving the way for a more balanced and accurate view of these ancient and magnificent animals. From the 360-million-year-old fossil of a shark eating another shark to the ancient Greek vase depicting a shipwreck, the history of sharks is a story of incredible power and survival. For hundreds of millions of years, they have been the apex predators of our planet's oceans, shaping marine ecosystems and driving the evolution of other species. The fossil evidence we've explored, the bite marks on a whale's spine, the tooth in a pterosaur's neck, and the tragic remains of early human victims, all testify to their efficiency as hunters. They are, without a doubt, one of nature's greatest success stories. However, it's crucial to put this history into perspective. While the fossil record shows us a world filled with brutal attacks, modern shark attacks on humans are actually incredibly rare. Today there are fewer than 10 fatal shark attacks worldwide per year on average. In contrast, humans kill an estimated 100 million sharks every year, mostly for their fins or as bycatch in commercial fishing. We pose a far greater threat to them than they do to us. The fearsome reputation that has followed sharks through history is largely a product of misunderstanding and media sensationalism. Sharks play a vital role in maintaining the health of our oceans. As top predators, they help to control the populations of other species, ensuring that no single group becomes too dominant. They also tend to prey on the sick and the weak, which helps to keep fish populations healthy and strong. The removal of sharks from an ecosystem can have a devastating domino effect, leading to the collapse of fisheries and the degradation of coral reefs. They are not mindless monsters, they are essential ecosystem engineers that have been doing their job perfectly for over 450 million years. Ultimately, the story of sharks is a story of respect. The fossil record commands our respect for their ancient power and their incredible history as survivors. At the same time, their modern reality demands our respect for their vital role in the ocean and their vulnerability in the face of human activity. By understanding their past, we can better appreciate their present and work to ensure they have a future. These magnificent animals have ruled the oceans long before we ever existed, and with our help and understanding, they can continue to grace our planet's waters for millions of years to come.